Okay, we are live. So the title of today's webinar is How to Improve Lead Quality and Conversion. And I want to start off, we've got two of our great Pittcon team members here with us today, Colleen Ellison and Tim Ellison. I'm going to bring them on for a moment so you can hear from them, and I'll come back on. Colleen, welcome.
Thanks, Jefferson. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of our webinar today. Jefferson is just an amazing support that we're so happy that we can offer to you. We do want to partner with you and make Pittcon exceed your expectations. We have so many amazing new things on the floor for you this year. We've tried to offer the free day on Wednesday. We've redesigned our sponsorships for you, and we're really looking forward to seeing you in Boston. If there's anything you need for us, we're here for you. Definitely reach out. I'll send it over to you, Tim.
Colleen, hello, exhibitors. Thank you for joining us again today. We're very excited to have you with us in Boston as we're hosting for the first time. We have a fantastic show planned, and the venue is absolutely beautiful. We can't wait for you to add your special touches to the show floor. So look forward to meeting you soon.
Back to you, Jefferson.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Tim. And by the way, should any of you have Pittcon specific questions, feel free to reach out to Colleen or Tim. You see their email addresses on the screen. We're all here to help you win this game. So if you've been around Pittcon for the last 8 years, you've seen and heard me, right? I've been around the show for 8 years, and I tease, I say I don't know much, but I do know trade shows, right? I got tossed into my first trade show in 1985. I was only 6 years old, of course, right? Sure. What a journey it's been, from my first show to really becoming a student of exhibiting. In 1988, I really began to study. I essentially gathered the accessible body of knowledge that was available on trade shows. Every book, every publication, every subject matter expert, every association, every trade show, every research report, everything I could find, and spent 3 years powering through it and applying it for my own company who was exhibiting at shows. In 1991, I launched Competitive Edge because I realized, that they're not teaching this stuff in college. It's amazing. The average company spends 41% of their annual exhibit marketing budget, 41% of the annual marketing budget goes to exhibit and event marketing. And what's mind-blowing is that 98% of the people managing the exhibit marketing spend have had no formal education in how to do this, right? So here I am. I launched Competitive Edge in 1991, heading into my 34th year. And as Jerry Garcia said, what a long, strange trip it's been, but it's been a great one. I tell you, I love shows. I really believe that if you see shows properly and you execute shows properly, I believe it is your most effective marketing, customer relationship, and sales channel if you see it and you execute it properly. And so what I'm going to do today is take one of the many, many elements that contribute to a successful exhibit, and I'm going to take you on a deep dive on how to get control of this most important area. If you ever got questions, my phone number is up there, my email address, and you can also reach me here on the Pittcon Exhibitor Success and ROI. Listen very carefully here. This is home base for the Pittcon Exhibitor Support Program. This has over $10,000 of proven effective resources. There is so much content up there. We have organized it into a 5-step content consumption plan, as you can see on the screen. Get control, plan to win, watch and learn, read and learn, and ask the experts. Our goal is to try to put the right content in front of you at the right times in the show execution cycle. Best of all, it's all free. It's all part of your exhibit package. So what's the big takeaway here? Bookmark this page, share it with everybody on your team, visit it often, and apply what you learn, okay? So that's what we're talking about here. So let's go ahead and get rolling. We're going to jump in and talk. The subject matter of today is lead management. And here's the way that I like to think about it. You think about leads, you capture these at the show, right? It's like an iceberg, right? It's, oh, I have 20, I have 40, 50, 100, whatever it is. It's above the surface, right? But what's below the surface, what you can get with good lead management is massive, right? It's huge. And most exhibitors are struggling with this part of lead management. So I'm going to share with you insights, best practices, proven ideas and strategies to get control so you can flip this iceberg, right? Where that large mass that's under the water becomes what's out in reach for you, okay? So let's talk about leads. To prime the pump, okay, to get your brain kind of dialed in for this road that we're going to walk down together. How important are leads to the success of your exhibit program? Write that down in your workbook. Okay. Now, I realize that we have many different types of exhibitors on here. Some of you are B2B commercial exhibitors. You're ultimately trying to sell products and services. Some of you may be, universities where you're trying to recruit. Some of you may be foundations where you're trying to build awareness. Some of you may be associations where you're trying to get membership and things like that. Okay, so it's not just that it's about, sales, whatever, right? Whatever it is. So I'm going to ask you, how important are leads to the success of your exhibit program? Number two, I want you to jot this down right now because we are going to do a quick poll later in the webinar. How do you physically capture leads in the booth? How do you do that? Go ahead and write that down because I'm going to flash a poll in about 15, 20 minutes here, okay? And number three, you capture these leads. Let's say you're in marketing and you hand them off to maybe sales or reps or dealers or distributors. You hand these leads off. Do you know what becomes of your leads? Can you track the ultimate disposition, if you will? What became of each of your leads? So I don't need you to share this with me now, but what I want you to do is answer these questions in your mind and hopefully in writing, okay? So some key insights on lead management here, okay? Here's the reality, right? I always say this, if ROI, return on investment, is the name of your game, lead management is the playbook. And if you're not here physically signing contracts or writing orders, and most of you aren't, right? The thing that you're going to walk off the show floor with, the physical takeaway, is going to be your leads. Now, that being said, I'm going to share some statistics that I consider a little shocking, but I think it's important to understand what's happening with leads. According to Center for Exhibition Industry, CEIR, Center for Exhibition Industry Research, 87% of the leads that are captured on a show floor are never effectively followed up on. You know, one of the biggest complaints we get from attendees who visit the exhibit hall, they go, hey, I went to the show. I stopped at 10, 15, 20 booths. I asked 10 or 15 of them to contact me. I never heard from them. Okay, that cannot happen, right? It's not good for you, the exhibitor. It's not good for the attendee, and it's not good for the Pittcon event, okay? So my rule is, if you're going to take a lead, follow up on it. And if you're not going to follow up on it, look the visitor in the eye and say, hey, Tim, based on what you told me, I don't think we're a good match for you, but maybe you should talk to this company or that company. Every lead worth taking is worth following up on, okay? If you are routing, if you are a marketing manager and you are routing your leads to sales teams or sales rep groups or whatever, this is shocking. 76% of the people who, salespeople who receive trade show leads view them as cold calls. Now I want you to pause and think about that for a moment. A visitor has walked into your booth. They've spent time with your staff. They've voiced interest in your products or services. They've allowed you to scan their badge to take their information. You're handing that lead to somebody and they're thinking it's a cold call? Really? Right? Come on. No, it's not a cold call, right? But there's a problem behind that, which I'll share in a moment. Here's a crazy one too. 43% of attendees who attend a trade show with purchase intent, near future purchase intent, say that they receive follow-up or information from exhibitors after they've made a buying decision. Now I want you to think about those shocking stats for a minute, right? This is crazy, right? So something's going on here and we got to get control of this, okay? The problem starts with the perception of lead value and the capture process. I tried to put my hands on a cartoon that I found years back and I could not find it, but I'll give it to you verbally because it brings it home. And I think it was in Business Marketing magazine. And the cartoon, it was one of those Q&A. Question: what's the difference between most trade show leads and a fortune cookie? Answer: the fortune cookie might come true. I mean, it sounds humorous, but it's really not funny, right? There's nothing funny about that, you know, because we're going to show you how to assess the value of leads, and we've got to get control of this. And the reality, I, as a consultant trainer for over 30 years, have worked with hundreds of companies directly as a consultant trainer. And usually upon engaging with a company, I ask them, do you know what's becoming of your leads? And the majority go, well, we put them in the CRM and we hand them off, but no, we do not know what's happening with our leads. Okay, so that raises a question. What's going on here? Why is this happening? Well, the perceived quality of leads, as I mentioned, right? 76% in the fortune cookie. The disconnect between marketing and sales. Marketing typically selects, books, plans, and executes the show. Sales is usually asked or forced to attend and staff the booth. And there's a disconnect. We got to get on the same page here. Marketing and sales are part of the same food chain. Attention, interest, desire, action. AIDA. That is the formula. Marketing generally is involved in grabbing attention and building interest. Sales is involved in desire, building desire, and converting desire to action. We've got to get out of our silos and we've got to get on the same page. Marketing leadership and sales leadership need to be very involved in the exhibit program. Number 3, here's another reason why this is happening: the lack of exhibit staff training, right? 86% of booth staffers that stand on a show floor have never had an hour of skills training in how to do that. They make behavioral, they make communication errors unknowingly that limit booth traffic, that reduce the quantity of leads, that limit the quality of the lead, okay? So training your booth staff on how to effectively work and exhibit to me, it is a critical success factor, okay? So, by the way, we have a webinar, a replay webinar on the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center here. See on the right, that image called Secrets of the Aisles. See the bottom in blue, Secrets of the Aisles? Require your booth staff to watch it. It's free. I mean, you can call me, I'll come out and do custom exhibit staff training, right? But you can get the best of what I teach right there in Secrets of the Aisles for free, right? So train your staff. Number 4, this is an interesting, why is this happening? So I and my team have been on the Pittcon show floor outside of the pandemic. We've been on the show floor for the last several years. We wear black, all black apparel. We have an iPad in our hand. Our shirts say Exhibit Effectiveness Evaluator. I cannot tell you how many times we walk into a booth and a booth staffer rushes us. Hey, can I scan your badge? Click, and they scan my badge and they turn around and walk away. They didn't even give me the chance to say no, right? And so they put me or my evaluation team's contact information into, hey, we got a lead. No, you didn't get a lead. What you got was a scan or a swipe. And I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. We got to define for our booth staff what we mean by a lead. And I'm going to give you a very functional definition on that. And number 5, the reason why most exhibitors, can't trace what becomes a lead is they do not have what I like to call a closed loop lead management system or process. Okay. And you know what's interesting about this insight is that many exhibiting companies are getting a significant return on their exhibit investment, but they can't see it. And why can't they see it? Because they do not have a closed loop lead management system. So here's a little bit what's behind the lead management conundrum, if you will, right? Okay, so grab your pen, grab a calculator. We're going to do something very quick here. This is an extremely eye-opening exercise, and it will, it's a wake up and smell the concrete type exercise. Okay, so one of the metrics, financial performance metric, that every exhibitor can and should be calculating is your cost per lead. It is a very simple calculation, so there's no excuse for not doing this. How do you do it? Take your total show investment and divide it by the number of leads you captured. This example, $25,000, 100 leads, we paid $250 per lead. I'm going to talk more about this later, so please keep this right in the back of your mind because this is a very important number, okay? Number 2, another formula. What do you stand to gain and what do you stand to lose if you capture well and follow up well, and if you don't capture well and don't follow up well? The easiest way to get to this is think about what either your average sale amount is for your company or what the value of a customer is for your company. Okay, so let me peel the onion on this idea here. Okay, so let's say that your average sale amount, you're selling instruments. It's a one-time sale. When they get it, they can use it for 2 or 3 years and there's no rebook. It's one and done. It's a $7,500 sale. Okay. Now, you might want to be running these numbers for your situation as I'm giving you this example. And so let's say that you capture 100 leads, okay? And by the way, the conversion rate on well-qualified captured leads is 20%, according to CEIR research. 2 out of 10 leads on average convert over time. So if you had 100 leads, and 20% of those convert, and your average unit of sale was $7,500, what you stand to gain by following up is $150,000 in sales. What you stand to lose by not following up is $150,000. In fact, let me say this very directly, you're handing that to your competition, okay? So, and one final point on the real cost of lead management. The impact on your brand. I want you to think about this. A visitor walks into your booth, they're interested in your products, they engage with your staff, they share information, they want to be contacted by you, and you don't follow up. How does that impact your company's brand perception in the market? We all know that when people are happy, right? When people are happy, satisfied, they might tell 1 or 2 or 3 people, right? But when people are dissatisfied, boy, they can talk. And with social media and digital communications, the ability to tell hundreds or thousands of people? No. Write this rule down, again. And hey, by the way, I had to learn this the hard way early in my career. When we were cherry picking at shows, we were writing orders, we were taking the low hanging fruit, we were capturing leads, but we were not following up. We were running from show to show, grabbing the low hanging fruit. And I was doing a show in San Francisco, the second year in the show. And I had a lady walk into my booth and walk right up to me and say, "Hey, do you remember me?" And my brain is like, I don't know, maybe, she said, "Oh yeah, I came to your booth last year. I enjoyed talking with you. I really loved you guys' products. I gave you my information. I asked you to follow up and you didn't." And I said, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, maybe." And she said, "No, I don't want to hear any excuses." She said, "I just want to tell you that I bought from your competitor." And she turned around and walked out of the booth. Now, I was pretty young then, maybe a little immature. And my first thought was, what is her problem? And then my second thought was, wow, what a great lesson to learn early in my career. If you're going to take a lead, follow up on it. If you're not going to follow up on it, don't take it. There's a lot hanging in the balance. Okay. So a little bit of how to kind of bring some numbers and science to this lead game and how to bring some emotion to this lead game about the importance of this. Okay. So let's talk closed loop lead management. There are 4 phases. And it is like this circle. It's a circle that goes round and round and round. And I've color coded it intentionally. The first phase in closed loop lead management is capture high quality. I'm going to define what high quality is in a moment. Remember I said the problem starts with the capture process? Yes. Number 2, routing, red. Move fast, right? Get these leads from the capture device into the CRM and into the hands of whoever's going to follow up fast. I'm going to talk more about that in this webinar. Number 3, then you got to follow up. What's the follow-up about? Converting them to action. For some of you, maybe it's not purchasing action, as I mentioned, but whatever the next action is you want the visitor to take, right? Follow up to make sure that action happens. And number 4, close the loop. Make it easy for the people receiving leads to report progress and the ultimate conversion, okay? So here's a great question for all of you. When you look at the 4 phases of closed loop lead management, where is it breaking down for you? Where is it breaking down, right? And so take a look at the screen. Think about, is it about, are you not getting quality? Are you scanning everybody that gets in and near your booth? Is it taking you 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get leads out? Are the leads being followed up on? And do you have a method to report? Okay, so those are the 4 phases. So let's jump in and let's address the quality issue. Let's get clear on what is and what is not a lead. I tell you what's not a lead. Setting a fishbowl like the image on the table saying, "Hey, drop your business card here to win the next giveaway du jour." It's not a lead. Or business cards that are ending up in somebody's pocket and you don't even know it was captured. That ain't it, right? I mean, maybe you could argue it's a lead, but you're not going to know, right? Just swiping or scanning any and everybody that you can. There's no real engagement and you're not capturing additional information. I'm not calling those leads, right? I'm being honest. Actually, if you think about drop your business card here to win this or that, what are you really getting there? From my take, contestants. If you're using a contest, drop your card here to win something. You're filling the fishbowl with contestants. And if you're telling me, man, my sales team is not following up on our leads, oh, maybe we're delivering fortune cookies, right? Maybe because you're going to make them dig like the needle in the haystack. You're going to make them dig through the haystack to hopefully find 1 or 2 of them that are good. Not a good way to do this, okay? What is a lead? I'll give you 4 criteria. Somebody has personally interacted with the visitor, number 1. Number 2, questions, good qualifying questions have been asked. Number 3, the answers have been captured, documented. Number 4, and hey, please circle number 4. This is the leverage point of lead quality. The next step has been identified with and agreed to by the visitor. Now, let me bring this home. If you hand me 500 of the what isn't a lead, I'll be lucky to convert 2 or 3, if that. If you hand me 50 of the what is a lead, I will convert 15 to 30 of those consistently. So what do you want to hand me? Right? So what's the big takeaway from this message? Make sure everybody on your team, when we say lead, this is what we mean. Okay? Now, how do you go about setting realistic lead goals? I had a company that I just did a consultation with yesterday who had a goal for 1,000 leads. And I asked them, I said, where did you get that number? And they said, well, we've actually been out of shows for 3 or 4 years. And we just think that given the number of hours in the show, we think we can get that many. I said, that seems like a high number. I'm going to give you a formula. Grab a pen. I'm going to have you do this right now for you. And I actually want you to share your lead number to show me that you are listening and you're engaging with this content. We use a formula called exhibit interaction capacity. You see, at the end of the day, you see the picture there? Trade shows are about face. They're actually about 2 things, face and next. Write that down, face and next. You do not have an unlimited capacity for face-to-face interaction. In fact, you have a very finite or a very limited capacity. I think you need to know what that capacity is. Here's how you do it. Okay, you use the EIC formula. Okay, so Pittcon, and by the way, use your numbers here, not mine. Let me walk you through this step by step. Pittcon exhibit hall is open 19 hours. Okay, I am going to call that your field of opportunity. I am not including the golden hours in the morning before the exhibit hall opens. I am not including the entertaining hours in the evening when the exhibit hall is closed. I'm only including open exhibit hours. Okay. Now, can you get interactions and leads before and after? Of course you can, but it's kind of complex to try to set and track all that. So let's keep this simple, right? 19 hours. Write that down. Okay, now here's a question for each one of you. How many of your staff will be standing in your booth for the purpose of engaging visitors? Your staff in the booth on average over the course of the show. The staffing rule of thumb is 50 square feet per staffer. If you're in a 10 by 10 booth, in your booth, you have the space for 2, maybe 3, not 4, not 1. 1, you're stuck. What happens if you're talking to somebody and someone else walks in? You're dead in the water, right? 4, too many, right? 4 people, no. So write down how many staff are going to be in your booth. Now multiply those 2 together and you have your total staff hours. Okay. Now let me take this one level further. I want you to set a target number of interactions per hour per staffer. The range, 3 to 5. 3 interactions per hour per staffer, conservative. 4 interactions per hour per staffer, moderate. 5, maybe slightly aggressive. 5. I want you to pick a number between 3 and 5, and I want you to multiply that number together, and you have what I am going to call your magic number. Actually, I'm going to argue that this might be the most important number that you need to understand about exhibiting. What do we say trade shows are about? Face and next. You do not have an unlimited capacity. In this example, you have the capacity for 114 face-to-face, one-to-one interactions in your booth. You don't like that number? You go 114, that's all. Change the variables. Can you change the number of hours in the show? No, they're fixed. Could you add the golden hours and the entertaining hours? Maybe. You could. Can you change the number of booth staff? Maybe. Don't overstaff it, right? Can you change the number of interactions per hour per staffer? Definitely. How? Good pre-show marketing, a well-designed exhibit that grabs attention, a well-trained booth staff that is engaging and draws people, a great visitor experience that has narrative transport that goes viral, that people leave your booth and they walk around Pittcon going, dude, have you been to this booth? You got to go check out this booth, right? Yes, you could raise the number of interactions per hour, right? Maybe you're going to go 4, maybe you're going to go 5, right? If you've never used this formula before, I do not recommend you going above 5 right out of the gate, right? Realistic, reach, but realistic. Now, listen very carefully. How do you set a lead goal from this? On average, according to the most in-depth study I've been able to find, and it matches up with my experience, not only as an exhibitor myself, but with the hundreds of companies I've trained and consulted with. On average, 1 out of 4 visitors to a booth will convert to an opportunity, also known as a lead. Great starting point. What would my lead goal be? By closing time, I will capture at least 28 qualified leads. So I'm going to ask you a question right now. And again, don't worry about whether you have this 100% final. I want you to go to your question tab right now, everybody on this webinar, and I want you to type in the number. What is your lead goal for Pittcon? I'm going to pause and give you a moment to do that. All right, Taylor, thank you. You are first in. I'll ring the bell for you. 57. Annette, 43. Nice. Christy, 28. Christy, I think your numbers matched up perfectly with mine. Chelsea, your numbers matched up perfectly with mine. 28. You must be right in that space. Okay. Catherine, another 28. Devin's coming in at 76. Devin, so far you've got the highest. I really need you to understand this formula, right? Because I could take this formula further and I could project percentage of leads that convert to next action, the revenue value of the action. I can predict my return on investment. I have been using this formula for over 20 years. I'm telling you, as long as the numbers you put in are realistic, it is amazingly accurate. So thanks to my rock stars, Taylor, Annette, Christy, Chelsea, Catherine, Devin, for sharing. You are rock stars in my mind. Thank you for sharing that. Let's keep on rolling. Now you know how to set a goal. So remember this key thing. Remember, trade shows are about face, but it's also about what happens next. The clarity of and the commitment by the exhibitor to the attendee. Clarity of and commitment to the next step are the leverage points in lead quality. Ask and ye shall receive. Okay, so it's all about talking with the visitor. Hey, based on what you've heard so far, does this sound like it might be worth learning more about? Yeah, it sure does. Great. What do you think our next step should be? How can we help you learn more? There's a little closing technique there, right? Hey, what you've heard, does it sound like it might? Sure does. What do you think our next step should be? Okay. So something you want to think about here too. We're going to have Jessica on in a few moments from Moritz, and she's going to just give you a quick overview of 2 things: the lead retrieval systems available through Pittcon and the data that is embedded in the badge. But what I want you to think about, what information would be most useful for you to capture to improve the quality of your leads? Projects, problems, goals, challenges, what products they're interested, how high is the interest? What is the buying role or influence of the person you're talking to? How do they go about evaluating whether they should use your type of product or service? Who is the team? Who all's involved? Who are they buying from or working with now? What do they like about them? What do they wish they could do better? What's the next action step? Who else besides them should be followed up with? Okay, so I'm going to encourage you, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you an example of a opportunity card to show you how to organize your information. But here's the big takeaway. Get more than just what's embedded in the badge. Ask whoever you're going to give the leads to, ask them. Say, hey, what information, if we could hand you, would make you drop everything and want to follow up on this lead immediately, right? If they collaborate on the input and the improvement of your process, their commitment to following up will be more real, okay? So Q&A, we've only got about 18 minutes to go. I am cooking. I've got 10 more slides to go. I'm going to cover a lot of ground, but this is a great time to pause and ask yourself, if there was one question that I could ask while I'm on this webinar about lead management, what would that question be? Go to your question queue, type it in. Remember, there's no such thing as a bad question, except the one that you should ask, but you're not going to ask me, okay? So fire away. All right, let's keep rolling. Now, how do you get follow-up? How do you actually get a sales team or dealer, distributors, rep groups to follow up? Number one, let them know what you are doing to improve lead quality. Get them to contribute. Hey, what information would you like us to capture? Number two, calculate and share your cost per lead. Look at the screen here. I want to take this a little deeper. The rental cost of a single booth space at Pittcon is $3,800. The budgeting rule of thumb, minimum, is floor space cost times 3. For me, 5. Floor space cost times 5, but minimally 3. In this example, your cost, you captured 50 leads, your cost per lead would be $228. By the way, the last research from Exhibitor magazine, the average cost of a B2B trade show lead in North America, $278. So you have a benchmark, okay? Now, it doesn't mean if you're high, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean if you're low, it doesn't mean you're wrong. When you have questions, I can take that deeper. For the sake of time, I got to keep on rocking. Here's a big best practice. Set 3 firm post-show lead reporting dates. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 45 days, 90 days, 180 days. And if you have a CRM system, put these into the CRM, okay? I am a big believer when you're trying to get support and buy-in and accountability. If you do not have a culture of lead reporting, kick it off with a contest. You might say this: the rep that gets the highest percentage of their leads to a confirmed in-person appointment within 30 days wins something. Level 2. The rep that gets the highest percentage of their leads to a written proposal or quote within 60 days wins the next level prize. The third touch point, the rep that converts the highest percentage of their leads to business and reports back to the value of the conversion wins the highest level prize. 30, 60, 90, 3 levels of prize, rewarding important things, and watch your accountability go through the ceiling, okay? Salespeople are a very competitive bunch, and keeping everybody aware of who's leading the follow-up and dangling those carrots, right? Now, sometimes you got to use the stick. There's only 2 ways to motivate: the carrot and the stick. And so maybe you're giving leads to people, reps, dealer, distributors, and they're not following up, or B, they're not reporting. You know what you might think about? You might think about charging them for these leads. Doesn't have to be a lot of money. Hey, if you paid $228 and you handed me 10 leads, that is the exact same thing as you handing me $2,280 of your company's capital. I think they need to know that. So would it be possible that you said, hey, we're going to give you these leads for $25. We paid $228, but we're going to give them to you for $28 a lead, right? And oh, by the way, as you report back and convert, we'll credit that back to you. That's a little bit out there of a tip, but I tell you what, if you got a culture where people are not following up and not reporting, something to think about, right? All right, so let's talk about capture. Remember we said the problem starts with capture. So what I'm going to do right now is launch a quick poll, okay? The poll is going live right now. How do you capture leads in the booth? Fastest fingers, look at the radio dial button that fits your situation and tap away. Do you collect business cards? Are you using a paper lead form? Are you kind of capturing V cards, you know, on the cell phone? Do you own a universal lead capture system? Okay. 60% of you have polled. I'm going to give you another few moments. I am looking to see, I'd like to see 100% of you answer this question. All right, for the sake of time, I'll give you 3 more seconds. I'll count us down and I'm going to close and share the results. On 3, 2, 1, here we go. Check this out. So nobody's collecting business cards. Congratulations. You know what? A lot of people aren't carrying paper cards anymore, are they? 14% of you are using a paper lead form. That's okay, but I want you to think about the problem with paper is twofold. Number one, somebody's got to write on it. And you know how people write. I mean, if you saw my handwriting, you would think, yeah. And let's just say I write like a doctor. You're not going to be able to read what I wrote. But then somebody's got to move the data from the paper into the CRM. Not only is that time consuming, right, but accuracy. Capturing the e-contact information by cell phone. I mean, it's okay, but you're basically just going to capture what? Their name, their title, maybe their address, their phone, and their email address. Probably not enough information to really kind of do it. Renting the show system. Wow, this is a high uptake. 71% of you are. Congratulations. For those of you that are renting the system, I'm going to recommend at a minimum that you customize your qualifiers. And for those of you with a universal capture system, you are playing the game at the highest level. Just always remember with your universal capture system, you will have to engage. There's a developer's code that you need access to be able to scan the encrypted barcodes, okay? All right, so with that, I am going to bring Jessica on from Merits. We're not here to sell you on this system. 71% of you got it. For those of you using paper and those of you capturing on your cell phone, I think we're mainly talking to you. Jessica, tell us a little bit about these lead retrieval options and then a little bit about the data that they're capturing.
Sure. Thanks so much, Jefferson. My name is Jessica Quintero. I'm actually the Exhibit Services Operations Manager for Merits. So I've been around for about 10 years in this industry. I won't tell Jefferson that he started the industry when I was born, but I've been doing it for quite some time now. And for us, we wanted to touch base with you guys on the 3 different types of lead retrieval products we offer. Our most widely used is our app, the mobile app. It's called Swap. It can be downloaded onto Android phones or Apple products. And you can download that app onto the device and just utilize your own personal device to scan leads. That is really important for you guys to know when you're out at, as Jefferson was saying, at the different after hours events and things like that. You know, you'll always have your cell phone on you, so you'll be able to scan badges at any time. There's not like a predated time and place that you guys have to scan. So you guys can scan anytime on or off the show floor. You meet someone on the shuttle going back to the hotel, or you know, you're out and about at dinner and you meet someone that still has their badge on. You can get that contact information right away and, you know, make some notes in there as well. We do offer physical rental devices from our company. Those are for the individuals that like to do high-speed scanning. So say you have like a front welcome desk and you're scanning people into your booth space. That's a great place to have one of those badge scanners just stationary at the desk. So that way you guys don't miss anybody that stops by. And then the tablet option is just a larger screen for individuals that like to take really methodical notes and want a little bit of a larger screen versus typing those in onto a cell phone device. All 3 options give you the same data, same information back. There's no real difference. They all utilize the swap app, which is great and makes it super easy to use and pretty universal. For those individuals, I know that there was like maybe 5% of those that use the universal lead capture. Jefferson touched on, we do offer an API that'll be for those people that have their own lead retrieval system. If you don't have your own lead retrieval system, you'll use one of ours that's posted here. Also, to touch on the contest options, we do have a pick a booth prize winner that's already embedded into your exhibitor portal where all of your leads are stored. So it makes it super easy for you guys to log in and pick a booth prize winner. And you can do that anytime you start scanning leads. That's available. As well as if you do utilize the Swap mobile app, it'll actually be broken down by rep. So you'll be able to see which rep is getting the most and who you need to kind of yell at and say, hey, buddy, get up and do your job. And then, yeah. And then Jefferson, to touch on the what's included in your attendee badge, if you want to go to that one. So you're getting a lot of your standard information, right? You're getting your first name, last name, all of their contact information. You're getting their title, their field, and then some of these other words, if you will, are just demographic fields that the attendees fill out upon registering. So for most people, the most important ones I know for Pittcon are things like responsibility of what they do within their organization, their purchasing authority, which is also a big one, and then I know there are some regulatory folks on the call that care about what regulatory systems they work with. So, but you get all of that full contact information from the individual. So you're getting quite a bit, and you can actually tailor things that are important to you by utilizing those custom qualifiers that Jefferson was referring to. Once you've set up your choosing your lead retrieval system, you'll be able to log back into your exhibitor portal and actually create custom qualifiers that really fit what you guys need to utilize, whether it's the reps names for all of the reps, or maybe you guys break it down by, like Midwest, South territories, like different territories. You'll be able to what's a great word? You'll be able to section out all of those types of leads based on the custom qualifiers that work for you guys. Should you need any help, your pre-show rep will be able to help you with that, and we'll take really good care of you. And of course, any questions that you have, we have an exhibitor services, a customer service inbox that gets checked every 5 seconds, in my opinion, and we'll be able to help you and work through any questions that you guys may have.
All right, thank you, Jessica, and again,
yeah.
and for sharing, and thank you for being Moritz, for raffling away. Remember, everybody, stay to the end. You will be entered into the contest, and we'll notify everyone as to who won. So let's keep rocking. Time is getting away from me. So what I'm showing you here, and it's in your workbook, is an image of a capture device. Now I'm showing you an opportunity card, and I'm showing you a paper-based one. Not so much that I'm encouraging that, but thinking about question information flow. So what do you want to know? Contact information. You saw what all is embedded in the badge. Some of the things you might want to know: what is their custom qualifiers? What is their relationship with your company? Is this a customer? Is it a prospect in the pipeline? Is it what is their no relationship, potential customer? If you're doing pre-show marketing, recon, how did you hear about our booth? What a great question to add, right? So you can figure out what's working, what's not. Situational questions are what I call your front end qualifiers, like the type of company, the job function, what they do, how they're using your product, service, anything around that. Areas of interest would be the different solutions you offer. Your back end, your qualifying questions are their role in the evaluation, where they are in the process, budgeting, timeline, always next action, and always room for freehand notes, okay? So really think through the question flow and try to design, once you do the scan, put your questions, your custom qualifiers in the natural flow. Front end situational, back end your harder qualifiers, okay? Not all leads are created equal. I think it's really important that each of us try to come up with a grading system. I like to use a grid. For you, think about what information would help you assign value. How many codes do you need? What does each code need? And make sure that these questions are the codes are embedded into the capture device. You might even go as far as to make these required questions. That way everybody has to get them. You can see the example in the screen. It's in your workbook. So for the sake of time, I'm going to move forward on that. I think someone's got to wear the hat. You know, it's like Jessica said, you know, the beauty of the electronic system, at any time you can pull how many have been captured, who captured, how much data, and the lead captain can go over what Jessica say, hey, buddy, you need to get on, right? That's what we're talking about here. Somebody's got to make sure that everybody is working together as a team, right? You can see the responsibilities of the lead captain, right? Lead response management. Speed of response equals higher delivery rate. If you're using phone, let your reps know the best days to call up are Wednesday and Thursdays. And interestingly, the best time of days to make phone calls are between 4 and 5. The problem with the average exhibitor is they will scan a badge, they will email some information, they might email once, they might call once, then they quit. Do not stop short. Any lead worth taking is worth following up. Keep in touch over time. And the Harvard Business Review, where this data came from, found that just by adding a few more attempts, you can increase your contact and your ultimate conversion rate by up to 70%. Okay. Follow-up. Let's talk about building your follow-up. Number one, get it ready before you get to the show. Please don't come back from the show with 75, 100 leads and go, now what? Speed is important, right? So think about what are the major steps in your customer's awareness or buying cycle, and build a communication follow-up plan that addresses those steps and answers the quick key questions along the way. Move fast. You know, one of the great things too about the electronic lead capture, the ability to upload your PDFs and your information and literally have that information delivered right while you're standing with them. First responders win the majority of deals. Number 3, the beauty of capturing more information and freehand notes, the ability to personalize your follow-up, right? Show me you know me. You're not, and that makes all the difference in the world. Plan for 6 to 12 touches over the next 3 months following the show. Use multiple channels. Do not just email, right? Mix it up. Put at least 4 legs on the horse. Like I like to say, it's hard to win a race with a one-legged horse, right? Let's have at least 4 legs on that horse, right? Think about value. You don't want every touch point to be, we're here to sell you, we're here to sell you, we're here to sell you, we're here to, you know, it's a great thing to do that hardly anyone's doing. And I don't care if you're in a 10 by 10 booth or a 50 by 50. Take a cell phone and do a walk around your booth with the audio narrative of what's in the booth, and send the video. What a great follow-up, right? Send educational content. You got case studies, you got testimonial letters. You know what else is a good thing to do? Customer testimonial videos. Try to get 3 customers on video during the show. Hey, why did you choose us? How are we delivering? What would you tell others? Wow, what a great social media, newsletters. You can be doing your own webinars. If you have the ability to send sample products, the ability to use promotional products that you can refill. I tell you what's a great promotional product refill. Post-it pads with your branding on it, and then send them, you know, 4 times a year. You want to talk about staying in front of them on top of the desk, right? So I'm at the top of the hour. We could have easily gone 2 hours on this topic, but I always want to respect your time. We're an hour of lead management power. The Exhibitor Success and ROI Center. Today is a beginning, not an end. This is your home base. If you have not bookmarked this, if you have not been here, if you have not downloaded the tools, if you have not downloaded the planning exercises, if you're not watching the webinars, if you're not reading the articles, get at it, right? It's all there. I will tell you this, if there's anything I've learned over 30 plus years in shows, you will get from Pittcon what you put in advance. If you think that you can just roll your booth out on the floor and that this is all going to work out, it's not going to work out like that, okay? You've got to take action before, during, and after the show. And this Success and ROI Center is the closest thing you have to a blueprint and a roadmap on how to do that. So I'm going to take a look in the question queue. We have some really cool questions. Tanya just said, thank you. This has been amazing. Thank you, Tanya. You just made my day. Someone just asked, will the webinar be recorded? Absolutely. If you registered, you will receive a direct view link, and we will also be uploading the replay to the Pittcon site you're seeing here. What's the best way to greet someone walking by my booth, Tanya? We call it SOS. You ready, Tanya? Write this down. Stand up, open your body posture, put a smile on your face, look towards someone and greet them. Hi, how are you doing? Right? 9 out of 10 times when you do that, the person in the aisle will notice you. Why? Hardly anybody's doing it, right? And when they do greet you, Tanya, you know what they're going to do? They're going to feel obligated to look at your booth. And when they look at your booth, they're going to fire 2 questions. What do you do? And why should I care? Make sure your booth quickly and visually answers what we do and why you should care. How do you start a conversation and keep people engaged? If they're in the aisle, don't get too up in their business too fast. How are you enjoying the show? What brought you to the show? What were you hoping to find at the show? What's been one of the coolest booths you've seen so far? You'll notice these are conversational icebreakers. Now, when somebody enters your booth, what do? Greet, welcome, meet, discover. Hi, how are you doing? Hey, welcome to Competitive Edge. My name's Jefferson, and you are Mary. So nice to meet you. What brings you by? I started visitor welcoming. Let's see. Should you contact leads post-show email 2 times if no response? This is very important. At the end of the interaction, before you go for the scan, and do not go for the scan too early, confirm that there's interest. So my strategy is this. Hey, Tanya, let me ask you, based on what you've learned so far, does it sound like this might be, and notice the might in there, might be worth learning more about? And she goes, yeah, it sure does. Great. Well, let me go ahead and scan your badge. And what do you think our next step should be? Right? What do you think our next step should be? Or how can we help you learn more? Right? Now, in terms of following up, remember what I said, pre-design your follow-up plan, okay? Meaning, especially if you're grading your leads, ABC, hot, warm, cold, 1, 2, 3, you should have a dedicated follow-up track for each level of lead, okay? And you should have that ready to go before the show. Let me see what else we got for questions. The 4 touch methods from Christy, email first, and if you're using electronic capture, that should happen in the booth. Connect on social media, LinkedIn second. Mail, don't forget about mail, right? Hardly anyone's mailing anymore. Good reason. Be where the competition isn't. The competition is not in the mailbox. Great place to be. Mail, so email, social media connection, follow-up mailer, telephone call. 4-legged stool, right? How soon after the lead should you contact them? Taylor, you asked this question, ask the visitor. Say, how can we help you learn more? When would you like to learn more? How would you like to learn more? Who besides yourself? Again, if the visitor collaborates and commits on the next step, their commitment to it is going to be more real, okay? So, all right, that is all I'm seeing for questions. We've run a few minutes over. You have been a fabulous group of exhibitors. Everyone has stayed on a few minutes late. On behalf of Tim and Colleen and Tammy and and Heather, the great team at Pittcon, thank you for joining. On behalf of Chris and Jessica at Merits, thank you for being on this webinar and your willingness to rough away a system. And thank you to every exhibitor who has invested an hour. In closing, remember this. It's not what you heard here today that is going to make the difference. It's going to be what you do. So my parting wish for each of you, before you leave and move on to your next task of the day, stop and ask yourself this. What are the 3 most important ideas that I learned today, and how can I put these to work for Pittcon? If you will, I can close this webinar not by wishing you a more productive Pittcon, If you will put this to work, I guarantee you're going to have a better Pittcon. The ball's in your court. Go get them. Watch the replay. Get on ESRC. Connect with Colleen and Tim for questions. Chris and the Merits team for the lead systems. And me if you got questions. Thanks for logging in, everybody. I've really enjoyed this time. I can't wait to see you all again. I will have a team at E3 doing exhibit evaluation, so we will have a presence on the floor too. Have a great day, everybody. This concludes our webinar on how to improve your lead quality and your conversion. Thank you. Hey, complete that survey too, right? Remember the link, you'll get it. Okay, over and out. Thanks.